basically, I bought SPX myself. I started buying. I keep buying for um, for a good period of time, and still buying some. But then there is this company that I'm a part of. I'm a shareholder, and the company is in Europe and has been doing basically crypto. It used to be it was born as a custodian for high net worth individuals.
Gotcha.
And then basically, again, like you see in Europe, there's all this. I don't know if you heard the name, but MiCA. There's this MiCA regulation,
I've
which is
heard of that.
basically, and everybody say, oh, like now with MiCA, it's Europe is pro crypto. It's all complete BS. Most Europe and most countries, they're very hostile to crypto till this day. And the regulation basically didn't change anything. It's very hard to get licenses. So anyways, it became very hard for the company to operate in that capacity. And so the company kind of morphed itself into more of a OTC desk of some sort, where basically it's assisting their, its historical clients, which are pretty big, some big customers in crypto, on making deals, maybe in OTC operations, things a bit that are non-standard in and of themselves. And so anyway, so the company is operational, and it also have a pretty sizable crypto treasury. And
Right.
so I was thinking, I was, I originally I felt it was a bit of a shame that they didn't have any exposure to the meme coin super cycle thesis, let alone SPX. So it wasn't much of I want to make money off this. It was more I wanted them to have a mini exposure, because they said, okay, this is one of the most interesting things that I saw. It would be bad, right? If let's assume this happens, right, to some extent, and they have zero exposure. And so I started to talk to them, and but the problem is, like, it was hard for them to. So the treasury is very to some extent traditional, so
Sure.
BTC, like primarily, and small room for other
We
things, which
pause for
was
just one second. I want to make sure that I'm understanding this. How I might have missed it. How are you related to the company? Or you have a role there, or
no,
what is it?
I don't have a role specifically, but I'm one of the shareholders.
Gotcha. Okay.
And
Okay. Okay. Cool. That's what
I'm
I
a
was just
small shareholder, by the way. It's not
sure.
anything major,
Sure.
but
Okay. Go
I
ahead.
know
That's all. I
them.
was. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I've been kind of working with them in the past. I know the board, and again, like the treasury in itself is pretty not old school, but it's pretty
Sure.
conservative, right? And so the space to buy spot was there was some space to buy spot, but it was a bit limited. And so we started thinking, how to get some more exposure, and then we came up with this idea: how about we, or let's say, get more exposure? How they were actually more interested in how can we accumulate more tokens, right?
Sure.
On top of what we're allowed to, or comfortable, or even allowed to have in the treasury as a spot holdings. And so we came up with this idea of, how about, we buy SPX6900 options. And so, the company has a relationship with pretty much all the familiar names of the derivative desk that you can find in crypto. And so they said, okay, take a look. And so I was involved into structuring this for them. And so basically, it was an interesting experience. So we talked to all the desk. Nobody knew the token. Like two desk,
Sure.
I don't want to name them, but like two desk actually thought we were actually looking for SPX, like the 500 options, right? And say, but like we are a crypto desk, we don't know if we're allowed to sell you, SPX options. So like completely off track. One, which was Wintermute, was happy, but it gave us a crazy price. So he priced the volatility like 400, which, if you're not familiar, it's crazy. Like even like volatility of 100 in most market will be considered crazy. BTC these days has, if you look at the options, that volatility maybe 50,
Gotcha.
sometimes even lower. So 100 is already pretty high.
Sure.
They quoted 400 in the desk we went with. Ultimately, they quoted like 200, which in and of itself is a large number. But we think we thought it was an EV bet, right? Because if the community, like, and I think this is kind of the rationale of this position for them. The rationale is the meme coin super cycle is happening, right? Meme coin will be the category, at least of this cycle. Within the category, SPX will kind of reach critical mass and will, at some point go parabolic. And this is specific for the option. This kind of move will happen between end of the year and then March 2026, as May 2026. So kind of end of year / H1 26. And this last thing was specifically it's kind of a time limit in this specific case, but obviously when you deal with option, you also need to to put a date to the options. And so we decided to put that as a date for their option position. So when we did that, we structured the operation, and then basically what was interesting to see is that so it was interesting to see that first off we were able to put SPX into the treasury of a company, which again, like,
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
Crypto treasury. But also the other interesting aspects of this is I basically, I talked to several people in crypto about this, and well, I talked about them. I pitched them SPX, and I think there is an arc to when you pitch people. It depends, like if they have a very, like when they describe the brain, whether you have a thin logical barrier, whatever, or a thick logical, whatever. So
Sure.
people are more kind of emotional, thin logical, they get it immediately. But there are also some people, especially people that have funds, or they've been investing in crypto, investors, whatever. The logic argument, like the logic cortex, whatever that is
Sure.
I saw it, especially thick. So it takes time.
Thick-headed.
But when they get it, they go crazy. When they get it, I have a friend, and this is something that I hope I'll be able to announce it. We'll see. He has a fund. He used to have also a crypto fund. He kind of moved on to invest in really crazy stuff. He's
Sure.
a very long guy, robotics, and
Wow.
but he was it was very skeptical. Then he kind of got the idea, and then he became crazy. Now he wants to invest with the fund into SPX. He also wants to buy some options. So I hope I'll be able to talk about this when it happens. But
Sure.
what I wanted to say is that when people get this, I was surprised to see the interest for the options. So they want the spot, but they also want some options, and it got me to think that for especially for institutional, if we want to call it like this, or at least like
Sure.
more structured capital, whether it's a fund or something else, they may want some arrangement, whether it's an option or something else, which can be a little more complicated on top of spot, but it looks like there is interest, and people are kind of realize, especially those that are familiar with investing in something new, weird, misunderstood, such as meme coins today. There is interest, and they just may want some different arrangements. And by the way, if anybody listening to this, they have any interest by people of this kind of cohort, they want to pitch them, or any advice, or any, consider me available, because to share this experience, also like coming from other similar experiences, I'll be happy to yeah, to jump in and be of help if I can.